Hello. Yes, I'm actually making a video on this channel after about 14 fucking starts and stops. Yeah, I'm actually gonna do it. This is Michael's Wrestling Review, and tonight I'm just gonna do a short video because I was watching WrestleMania 30 and I thought, hey, let's count down the top 10 moments in Mania history according to me. Again, this is not an official list or anything. It's just what I think the top 10 moments are. If you like it, cool. If not, I don't really fucking care. So, okay. So, number 10, it's cliche, but you have to do it. It's got to be WrestleMania 1, because without WrestleMania 1, none of these other moments happen. So, WrestleMania 1, number 10. Yay, WrestleMania 1. The show sucked, but yay, WrestleMania. Number 9, the Hardy Boys return at WrestleMania 33 in Orlando in 2017. It's the only live WrestleMania since WrestleMania 30 that I missed. So, of course, the Hardys would come back, but I could even tell on my television how loud the pop was. I mean, everybody kind of knew they were coming back. Like, I thought when New Day came out, it was going to be them and they'd save the Hardys for Raw. But it was a perfect moment. It's a shame Vince and them didn't use Matt Hardy more to the best of his abilities, but he's doing pretty good in AEW now, and I will always contend that if Jeff Hardy had been able to stay clean, Jeff Hardy's a top 5 wrestler of all time. Fight me. Number 8 is at WrestleMania 7, is the reunion of Miss Elizabeth and Randy Savage. Savage had been on his heel run for a couple years. He was facing Warrior in a retirement match with Sherry Martel in his corner. Warrior wins. Sherry comes in and starts beating Savage down. Liz comes trucking, and you know how tiny she was. She flings herself at Sherry. It's a great moment. Probably the first super emotional moment in WrestleMania history. But yeah, so that was that one. Number 7 was from my first WrestleMania, which was WrestleMania 30. It was the first moment of the night. It was the moment with Hulk Hogan, Steve Austin, and The Rock, all three in the ring at the same time. It's like Jerry Lawler said, the 3 most popular people in the history of the WWE, without question. It was a great moment to see. Hogan sang the Silverdome twice. I fully expected Austin to stun both of them, but hey, you can't get everything. Number 6 is from the same night, and we talked about how that was the first moment of the show. The last moment of the show is Daniel Bryan winning the WWE World Heavyweight Championship in a triple threat match, also with Batista and Randy Orton. If you don't know the story, originally Daniel Bryan was supposed to wrestle Sheamus, I dropped my pen, on the undercard of WrestleMania 30, and CM Punk was supposed to wrestle Triple H, and the main event was supposed to be Randy Orton and Batista. Punk leaves. Daniel Bryan's not in the Royal Rumble. People are super pissed. So they're like, okay, we'll let him wrestle Triple H. People are still super pissed. Vince said, okay, so we'll let Daniel Bryan win. And then he had to give the belt up 2 months later because his neck was fucked. But my brother made an excellent point the other day. Chris Jericho still harps on the fact that he beat Steve Austin and The Rock. And the same night in 2001, Daniel Bryan should brag that he beat 3/4 of Evolution in the same night. I've never heard him say it. I want to hear him say it. Brag, Daniel. I know you're kind of a reserved guy. Brag about that. You beat 3/4 of Evolution. It's pretty fucking cool. Number 5, the Slam heard round the world. Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan, even though Hogan had done it 6-7 years prior. Granted, Hogan was older, Andre was heavier, but everybody loves it. Number 4, if it wasn't for the fact that this moment has been tainted with the fact that one of the men involved committed a double murder-suicide, it would probably be number 2 on my list. But for that sheer fact, it falls to number 4. Of course, I'm talking about the final moment of WrestleMania 20. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, 2 guys that were told they were too small. They'd never mount anything. They'd never make it to the big time. They hold the 2 biggest belts in the wrestling world. And then 2.5 years later, both of them are dead, unfortunately. And it breaks my heart. I can separate the wrestler Chris Benoit from the person Chris Benoit. Paul Heyman put it perfectly. He was doing a Q&A with Inside the Ropes, I believe, in London, and somebody kept yelling how Benoit was his boy, and he said, hold on, he said, he said, that weekend, 3 people died. Only one had the choice to die. So he said, in terms of in-ring, he's one of the top 5 performers I've ever seen. As a human being, fuck him. That's how I feel about Chris Benoit. I can separate the in-ring performer from the man. I still like watching him wrestle. If you don't, cool. Okay, I'm still going to watch him wrestle. Number 3 is WrestleMania 6, the Ultimate Showdown, Ultimate Challenge. I don't fucking remember what it was. I think it was Ultimate Challenge. Yeah, that. Warrior beats Hogan. The match itself was not very good, but the reason this moment was such a big deal is I do believe, and I might be wrong. If anybody watches this, please correct me. Not sure anybody will, but who knows. I do believe it was the first time Hogan had been pinned clean in the middle of the ring since he started his big run back in '84. That's why it's such a big deal. Of course, we all know the Warrior experiment did not work. And he would leave the company, come back at WrestleMania 8 with short hair, which was really fucking weird. And then, yes, it was nostalgia when he came back, and it was great, and it was sad when he died. Let's not forget that the Ultimate Warrior was a fucking homophobe and a racist. Let's not forget that. But, again, I can separate the wrestler from the man. Number 2, okay. The final 2 are 2 moments that I actually was able to witness in person. One of them is something that can literally never happen again, and that's number 1. Number 2 is something that I highly, 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 highly doubt will ever happen again. Number 2 is Seth Rollins cashing in the Money in the Bank contract in the main event of WrestleMania. If you don't remember, they'd built Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar since August. Nobody wanted to fucking see Roman Reigns in the main event win the championship. I think people would have been happy if Brock had beat him, but I don't think they wanted that because Brock was going away for a little bit. And then they would have had to have paid him to work again. But yeah, nobody fucking wanted Roman to win, which was the case. What was it? 32, 33. 3 years later in 34, I can't count. But nobody wanted Roman to win. Nobody wanted Brock to win at that point either. But, and if you go back and watch, there's a moment, I think like two or so minutes before Rollins actually comes down to the ring and cashes in. There's another referee on the side of the ramp, and there's a camera pointed directly at the entrance. I told my brother, I'm like, I don't know who, but somebody's coming down that ramp here pretty quick. And I have never felt, and I've been to college football, I've been to concerts, I've been to baseball games, major events. I have never felt a stadium shake the way that it did when Rollins' music hit. Me, myself, I was jumping up and down like I had just discovered fucking, candy bars for the first time. I was that excited. And it was a great moment. Of course, I come to realize Seth Rollins is a fucking scumbag, but it was a cool moment, and it's number 2 because it'll probably never ever happen again. And then number 1, anybody who knows me knows that I have unlike George Costanza, I have a heterosexual crush on Brock Lesnar. I love Brock Lesnar. He brings legitimacy to professional wrestling. He brings believability to professional wrestling in an era when believability is dead. Number 1 is when Brock Lesnar beat The Undertaker's streak. Anybody that says there's a WrestleMania moment greater than that, shut up, you're wrong. This is something, nobody ever thought would ever happen. I myself thought, oh yeah, Brock's going to go in, he's going to F5 him a couple times, Taker will kick out, boom, tombstone, 22-0, yay, you have to come back at WrestleMania 31. You can tell early on that Undertaker fucked himself up. It's amazing he was able to deliver the kind of match that he did because they beat the absolute horse shit out of each other for about 20 minutes. Yeah, he beat the absolute. They just beat the hell out of each other. And then when Brock reversed him, I lean over to my brother and I say, "Oh yeah, Brock will F5 him, kick out, Hell's Gate, Tombstone, something." And then 1, 2, 3, and we both stare at each other for about 2 minutes. And that's why the camera work and the direction. It's the only time I'm going to give Kevin Dunn credit, because fuck Kevin Dunn. He's a cancer. He should fucking be gone forever. The direction that he had that night to not directly announce Brock as the winner right after the bell rang, and to be able to capture the reactions of the people in that audience. I was there. There were 75,000 people in that building. You could have heard a fucking pin drop. It was that quiet. Because people were like, was that a fuck up? Was that supposed to happen? There were people around us, people we got friendly with because we were just talking all day, that thought it was a fuck up until they put up the 21-1 image on the big screens. And I took a picture of that because it's, like I said, it's something that can never happen again. The streak can't end twice. Money in the Bank can happen twice. There can be returns out the ass. The streak can only end once. And you can argue back and forth, it shouldn't have been Brock, it should have been someone else. Answer this question. Who was more believable and ready at that exact fucking moment than Brock Lesnar to end the streak? You ain't going to have an answer to that question because there wasn't anybody. And it's set up for Roman and Brock the next year, which we all know how it turned out with my number 2. But yeah, to me, those were the top 10 moments in WrestleMania history. To me, the streak ending is the greatest moment in wrestling history, because it was such a mythological thing. Like, the streak's never going to end. It was a secret between us. It was supposed to end a year earlier to CM Punk, but Paul Bearer died. But Brock was the right guy at the right place at the right time. I love The Undertaker too. I got to meet him 2 years later in Dallas. But yeah, those are my top 10 moments in Mania history. The next video I post will actually be what this channel is going to be intended to be, which is reviewing independent wrestling. I haven't decided what show I'm going to watch yet, but I'm leaning towards the Nick Gage Invitational 2, because I don't like deathmatch. I'm not the biggest deathmatch guy in the world, but I like death matches when they make sense. And that tournament at least told a story throughout it with him and Tremont. But yeah, so it'll probably be in GI2. It may end up being an AI. It may end up being the AIW show from Indy at the Collective. I don't fucking know yet. That's the beauty of this. I can do whatever the hell I want to. But if anybody watches this, I really, really appreciate it. It gives a short, chubby, bald guy from Ohio an outlet to express his opinions and talk about something he's loved from the time he was, born, pretty much. So I thank you guys. Have a good night and be safe.